So the next one, this is going to be interesting here because we can talk about the Kenny Omega stuff on this one. Next one, Tourist Wobbled. The subject is Disco's rep. This is going to be a pretty long discussion because this brings up a good point. I got a question for Konnan and Joe about Disco. I love Disco Inferno on the show. He's funny. He's smart. He has some really great stories. I love that he will always speak his opinion no matter what the masses are saying. It seems like every week that some snowflake from the wrestling industry, wrestlers or dirt street riders, get annoyed because Disco dares to speak his opinion online. Kenny Omega and JD from New York are examples, but what I'd like to ask is, how does this affect Konnan and Joe? Konnan works with a lot of these adults, and Joe works on, I think the last count was 43 billion podcasts from wrestlers. Is that an accurate number, Joe?
Yeah, it's up
How many? Do you work on 43 billion other podcasts?
Yeah.
Do you guys get any hassle from people within the industry because of Disco? That's a good question. Let's talk about the Kenny Omega thing first, because this obviously affects you, Konnan, because Kenny works with you, right? And it's funny too, is like a lot of these guys, they work with you, and they know that you do this with me, and it's kind of like, I don't understand what these people, what their problem is. The show is called Keeping It 100. It's like I'm not intentionally burying things that I think are good or just whatever. I'm just speaking my mind on what I view in the business and analyzation stuff and all that. But this week, this was the big controversy, right? So Becky Lynch, you got that article, Joe? You got all this stuff ready?
I got everything.
I told
ready.
Joe to have it.
Yeah.
Read what Becky Lynch says.
Okay.
This starts it all.
Okay, you didn't tell me to have that ready, but I will.
Well, just okay. But Becky Lynch basically makes a comment. She does an interview online that goes viral. She says that basically that the AEW wrestlers are not presented well on their show, and they're not as good as us. Okay, they're not as good as the WWE girls. Was the gist of what she said, right?
She said competition is great. And it's great for there to be another place. And I have a very good friend in Ruby Soho over there. I'd love to see her as a champion one day. I'd love to see her getting the spotlight she deserves. Competition is always great, but over here, we are on another level right now. Man, we are on another level.
So Dave tweets, right? Stardom has the best women wrestlers. That's the only tweet. Okay, now, Konnan, have you heard of Stardom before?
Yeah.
I haven't. I have no idea what Stardom is. Okay. Because you were down in Mexico, and Jeremy said I was trending on Twitter over this stuff because, show this clip, right? You can enlarge it, Joe. Mm-hmm. There we go. Okay, and I see this. This is what I see. I know nothing about Stardom, except Dave says they're the best. These are the best women wrestlers. That's literally the only two things I know. That's it. And then I see this clip. Go ahead.
そうですね。すべての動きに意味がないようにも見えるし、すべての動きに意味があるようにも見えるのがこのスルガメイです。ほら来た。抜けられた。なんだ。完全に染まった。そうですね。
Okay, I'm a little bit of a troll. Okay, but I tweet. Didn't Dave say these were the best women's wrestlers? And it's just, bro, how? But for me tweeting that. Okay, let's say you were the owner of Stardom. Okay, would that bother you?
What was the question?
Would that bother you? My tweet. I'm basically all I'm tweeting is Dave. No. I thought Dave said these were the best women's wrestlers. That's all I said. Okay, I don't know how Kenny Omega gets a hold of this because we don't follow each other. Maybe somebody tag me, stuff. But this is Kenny's response. Read this, Joe.
It's pretty sickening that unathletic enhancement talents of yesteryear are trying to tear down incredibly gifted stars of today. By the way, this clip and both these gals rule.
Okay.
And he also said I was being generous by calling him an enhancement talent. In most cases, no one's character or career was enhanced by Disco's performance.
All right. So he takes shots at me. And he's taking shots at me, and all my tweet says is all I'm saying is I'm questioning Dave on whether or not these girls are better than the WWE girls, which I don't, based on that clip, I said, wait a second, these are better than WWE girls? All right, so I got into it here. Of course, I got to respond, but, he tweeted that, and then he had a couple more tweets where basically somebody said, why don't you fight him? That's not a good look for an executive vice president of a company, okay? Like cutting a promo on me, which is not accurate, for one thing. Okay, Cody, would you consider me in WCW? Was I an enhancement talent?
No.
Okay, was I basically a mid-card performer? Would that be an accurate description? Was I a mid-card performer that was over, held titles?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not an enhancement talent. All right, you got this. So read this part, Joe. So Konnan, you got to understand. I literally and I started retweeting everybody.
Yeah.
I got attacked and harassed by Kenny's fans. Harassed. I mean, like, honestly, if I was like a person in the business that had mental health problems, it's like I don't see how anybody would be cool with this. But I guess because they know that I've got thick skin and I don't care about all this wave of just like attacks and hate stuff, everything that I don't care. But it's like if there was somebody else, like this would have been problematic because everybody and their mother are attacking me with vulgarity, harassment, jobbers, just hundreds and hundreds of tweets and comments, right? So I tweeted, okay, because I know what I'm doing, because I wanted to get this out there. I said, anybody from did you have my tweet, Joe? Where I basically called out the dirt sheet guys?
Any wrestling journalist want to hit me up for a comment on being faced with online attacks and harassment from Lance Storm and Kenny Omega fans?
Okay.
Lance Storm.
Well, Lance Storm made a comment too. Like, just he always has to defend women's. You got Lance's comment?
Classic Disco. Pick a clip of a wacky spot. Many in North America won't like to be a troll. I've watched a lot of Stardom. Many there would work circles around you.
Work circles. So brother, insulting me. Okay, and all I'm referencing is Dave's comment that these girls are supposed to be the best women's wrestlers, better than WWE. And it's like, this is like the level of arrogance in the responses here of like, how dare you question like Dave speaking about who are the greatest women's wrestlers, and anybody that watches wrestling knows that the Stardom girls should be great, and like just the arrogance on these people of like, you're personally attacking me just because of a harmless tweet like that, bro. I mean, would you agree that this is a bad look for everybody that tweeted me? And get Dave's tweet, because Dave responded to what I said, and Kenny said to me that this is fascinating. What Dave tried to imply. You got that tweet?
Yeah. So there was a comment from an account that says, at the Real Disco, that enhancement talent, as you put it, was more over worldwide and a better wrestler than you ever could be in your wildest dream. This is a reply to Kenny Omega. And he didn't need Dave Meltzer cheerleading for him or giving him awards to convince anyone he was. So Dave responded, Konnan was his buddy. Omega was just a guy he knows from business. If you are correct, since Konnan has had power in AAA since 1992, why wasn't Disco ever world champion there?
Read that again for Konnan, because I want to say, did you understand what he's saying here? What Dave is saying?
Well, I answered him.
You answered Dave? You answered Dave. Well,
I saw that while I was in the hospital.
And did you see what I tweeted?
No.
I said that's that's a
read what I tweeted, Joe.
I quote tweet. Okay, read what Konnan tweeted.
Konnan tweeted, for the record, Disco and I disagree on many things. One of them is Omega. Disco, who was always a pleasure to wrestle against and knew how to get crowds into a match, is a different type of wrestler than Kenny. Kenny reminds me of Eddie. He's one of the best all-around talents of all time.
And then, but the thing I think what Dave was trying to imply is that you don't think I'm a good wrestler. And my thing was, I said I'll answer this for you. We've talked about this before.
Right. Okay, so let me answer. Let me
just do my comment first. Was I answered it by saying, that's a weird way to put it, but let me answer this for you. I don't speak fluent English, and I never really cared to wrestle in Mexico. I never really cared to Mexico.
You don't speak fluent Spanish.
Konnan has asked me to come to Mexico on numerous occasions, and I have actually turned him down. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not like it's not like like he's trying to play like you think like you think I stink and you think Kenny's good, and I'm like, there's nothing. I don't know why he would have like gone there.
Two different wrestlers, bro,
completely different wrestlers, right? Exactly.
So the thing is that again, it's like the Cody thing. People's feelings are hurt. You already have a bad reputation amongst the younger crowd of maybe being bitter or irrelevant or whatever the they have. Like you're an easy target to pick on because you'll come back at them. But I just think that and that is true. I have asked Disco to come to Mexico many times, and he isn't interested. And you would think, you would know that him being my friend, I'd take care of him. Doesn't mean I'd make him world champion, but I would take care of him, right?
Right.
Kenny, on the other hand, is without a doubt one of the most professional guys I've ever met in my life. Very easy to work with, unlike most major stars who have some sort of ego or they act like divas. Very chill, very easy to work with. He always makes his opponent look great. Love working with him. Same thing with the Young Bucks. So, anyways, and we disagree. Whatever problem Disco has with Kenny, that's the way he sees Kenny, but that has no bearing on our relationship. Okay. And the guy was also asking, do people complain about Disco and all that? Yeah, they complain about Disco. Main two things is, how can you be his friend? Number one, you don't choose my friends, and who my friends should be irrelevant to you. And because you don't like him doesn't mean I shouldn't. And the other one is, he talks a lot. Why do you let him talk so much? I don't give a he's my boy, and I don't care. But anyways, yeah.
But honestly, I want to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
Is that a bad look for an EVP of the second largest wrestling organization to be beefing with me of all people on trans? So I just think that's
over that, yeah. But
right,
I will say this: here's the thing about the clip. Can somebody send us a clip if they are the two best wrestlers in the world? Can you send us a clip of them of a great match? Because that spot right there is no indication of it.
Right.
That's a silly spot. And of course, if that's the first thing Disco ever sees and the only thing he ever sees, what do you want him to think?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not
also
disgusting.
for all of you people that think it's Disco's out of touch and all that. Well, this is all he has to go on. I don't even know who they are, and I pride myself on being on top of everything. Okay,
and I just want to
send us a clip. Maybe they are really good wrestlers, but that hokey sequence right there, come on.
Let's do this too, because I'm sure this is going to go up on YouTube. Okay, and this is just to set the record straight. Right, on Disco was an enhancement talent jobber. He was never over. He got over MK. Bro, during the height of the wrestling wars in like late 1997 is when I had my run for the TV title. It was like September 97 or whenever it was. But like in the heart of the Monday Night Wars, okay, when we were beating WWE, okay, Dave started doing ratings analysis. Okay, and like when he first started
you were
doing
getting
ratings
some of the highest ratings.
All right, read this. This is from the Observer. When is this from, Joe? Well, what's the date on this?
October 27th, 1997.
Read what it says about me.
So it says
just to set them so people that have never watched me but still like to say jobber enhancement,
right.
Like the pile on with the mob. This is me back in 1997. Let's hear it.
So it says, for the last couple of months, Dave has been compiling all the quarter-hour ratings, who was in those segments, and examines how the ratings of a segment rise and fall compared to previous segments, which is how you can see who is making people watch and who's making fans change the channel. And just looking at the number, your top ratings draw is Disco Inferno. A lot of it depends on placement of the show. Raw and Monday Night Football both start right as Nitro's second air's beginning, so that contributes to a ratings drop-off. Stuff like that. It's all complicated and interesting, but Dave also says the numbers don't lie. No matter where he's placed on the show, the ratings increase significantly every time Disco Inferno is on TV, and all the different explanations don't fully explain that. Bottom line, Disco Inferno is actually a real draw on TV. Weird, but true.
And let me tell you one more thing. In the last 30 years, I've seen it all. And I've worked with mostly everybody. And Kenny and Disco are two completely style of wrestlers, okay? And I would want both on my roster.
And you know something? It's not like Disco couldn't work with Kenny either. I've seen Disco have great matches with AJ Styles in the ring.
I can work with everybody. I do. Yeah. I make, because here's the thing. This is what people don't understand. There's this thing now with wrestling today is that they think a worker is good based on their offense. Okay, I make guys' offense look good. I take good bumps. I sell everything they do and stuff and all that. And like guys like to work with me because the match is pretty basic. I take the bumps for them. I sell my ass off for them. And the only moves I'm giving them are like that they would even like take any type of bump would be the running neck breaker and like the Russian leg sweep. Like everything else would be like I'm not giving you any difficult bumps. Yeah. I throw a good punch. I take good punches. I sell punches.
And you had a mean gorilla walk.
Mean gorilla walk, and I have a good gimmick that the fans can imitate.
And you were good on the mic.
And I'm good
but
on the
anyways,
mic. So
they just do that to piss you off. They do it to me all the time. Oh, Konnan this, Konnan. I could give a the facts speak for themselves. They didn't give me a title just for fun. There was a lot of talent there. They could have given it to somebody else because I was over. That's all there is to it. Whether I was a great technician, whether I was one of the greatest of all time, whatever the thing is, I had a really good career. I had a great one in Mexico and a good one in the United States. you know, but people will minimize you. Oh, you were never a top star. You also got to remember we were also held back from being top stars.
Right, of course.
If you would have let us get in that top star echelon, we would have killed it. And if I would have gone to WWE, I have no, and I'm going to say this, it's going to sound braggadocio, and I would say it about Disco too, not because he's here, because I'd rather bury Disco than put him over. But Disco would have gotten over. He knows how to get over. I would have gotten over. I know how to get over. Jericho knows how to get over. That's why he always gets over.
Bro, they went. These guys were in a glass box. We're in the mid card at WCW. You go to New York and you slide the door of the glass box open, and all these guys, Jericho, Benoit, Eddie, they all became champions there.
Right. Let me tell you another guy that knew how to get. Let me tell you another guy that WCW, you know, another guy that knew how to get over everywhere he went. Raven.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you know how to get over, you'll get over everywhere.
Yeah.
And as far as me, real quick, I've never heard anything like where I've lost the opportunity for a gig or something just because I do this show or because I'm associated with Disco, and I work on Bischoff's show, Jim Ross, Jarrett, Jake, and DDP.
Just a final word on this too. A lot of the stuff I saw in there. Kenny thinks I hate women's wrestling, and that's why I picked that. It's like I don't hate women's wrestling. I don't hate women's. I call out bad women's wrestling. I put over good women's wrestling, like we do, bro. How I don't know. These guys they don't follow me. They don't understand where I'm coming from. They don't listen to the podcast. They get sound bites. They see one tweet they get, I triggered these people. Period. And that's what, and I really believe
I know Kenny,
right?
Not as good as I know you, but I know Kenny and I know you, and I really believe you guys would get along, but you guys don't know each other,
right? We probably would because we're both like hockey. Next is from Sean Burgess. Oh, by the way, if he he did challenge me, he said if I wanted to fight him, I should
take a swing,
whatever.
But I would give him a Brooklyn tushy kicking.
No. Here's what I would challenge him to. Okay, I played street hockey, and I was an MVP in my street hockey league when I was 18 years old in the playoffs. I would challenge Kenny. I'll put the goalie pads on, and he can have 5 shots of me in a shootout, and he'll put the goalie pads on, take 5 shots of him in a shootout. We'll see who wins.
Did he play hockey, or you just assume he did because he's Canadian?
No, he plays. I've seen pictures of him wearing goalie equipment back in.
Oh, really?
Bro, he's from Canada. Everybody in Canada play hockey.
But there's some guys that don't. They're weird. They're like in the log rolling.
We could have either a hockey fight or a shootout.
I know Lance Storm is a big fan of log rolling.
Interesting.
And ice fishing. Nothing.
Next is from HKGR. Subject is the superior one a victim of cyberbullying because Kenny Omega was upset at his opinion. We just talked about this, but I'd like to hear what this guy says. Yeah. I wager 99 out of 100 adults would also look at the clip DI post and agree it was pretty terrible and extremely childish. If WWE had Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch do that spot, most of those who piled on Disco would be screaming how disrespectful it was for Vince to make them do it. But because it involved Japanese women, the neckbeards and weeboos felt compelled to don their Wonder Woman capes and do what they always do. Start with the white knighting and phony virtue signaling. On social media, stating the truth is a dangerous thing, especially when Japanese wrestlers are involved. Everything they do is great, provided they're not in the WWE, and you're only allowed to shower disingenuous praise on them. Is there any chance you could get Kenny and Don Callis on the show? I want to believe Kenny didn't expect the harassment he unleashed to get that out of hand. I'm a fan of both these guys, and Don Callis is always great. P.S. In the comments for that clip, someone asked a question Konnan has asked. Where is Lulu Pencil? The response was that she's focused on her journalism. So now you know, K-Dog. PPS,
thank you.
PPS, the acclaimed are the best thing in AEW. Huge mark for Anthony Bowens as well as his dad, the godfather of hockey fights. Talk to Tony and get him on the show, Joe. Wait a minute. What's going on here? Anthony Bowens' dad is the godfather of hockey fights? What is that? Google that. I have no idea what that is. Yeah, but we just talked about this. But Konnan, see if you can get Kenny Omega and Don Callis on the show. Do you think they'd be willing to do it?
Omega, I don't think so. Don Callis, yes.
Okay, well, I would say this. I think Kenny, honestly, is like I think it's good. This is a bad look for him if we invite him on the show and he turns it down because he's the one that came and attacked me over that. So it's like, I don't. Let's at least get Don Callis back on the show because he's bored because all he does right now is just police Lance Storm's Twitter. Have you seen that, by the way?
No.
Every time Lance Storm makes a comment, Don Callis trolls him. Like every single time. It's hysterical. It's like,
this just says that his dad is a renowned collector of hockey fights on social media. So he's not a player.
That's it. That's very interesting. Okay, because back in the early 90s, when I went to University of Georgia, I was a hockey fight tape collector. And I just wonder if I was getting them from Anthony Bowen's dad.
Maybe, yeah.
Find it. See if you could message him or something. Say, hey, and find out, because in the early 90s, I was getting hockey fight tapes. I was collecting them. Maybe I was collecting from him. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. That's interesting.
Yo, what up? This is Konnan, and I host Keeping It 100. My co-host, Disco Inferno, unfortunately.
Well, I'd say you're my co-host.
Listen, every Thursday here on Spreaker, we talk pro wrestling, sports, movies, music, TV, pop culture, and some politics. It's everything the rest of the pro wrestling podcasts are not.
Tune in to hear myself, the superior one, educate and inform.
Tune in to hear me bury Disco.
That's very disrespectful.
Join us every Thursday on Spreaker and keep it 100. Boom!